What's up, everybody? Today we're talking about update 10.1, which is likely the last significant update to Squad in the year of 2025, and some more updates from Offworld themselves. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can be up to date on future videos. Leave a like, drop a comment down below with your thoughts on the update. And don't forget, if you want a copy of Squad, you can use my code SLAY3K30 at the link in the description below for 30% off your game key. Now let's get to it. Our first real look at 10.1 starts with Skywarp, the new lead game designer for Squad, introducing Sundog, who's now the design director, who talks about the focus being to reduce friction points in the game, refresh current content, and make sure the game stays relevant for players. Now, we've already talked a little bit about the Muzzle Smoke fix coming with 10.1, which is pretty significant because it's been one of the major pain points for players. Another area Offworld's been focused on is a vehicle tuning pass across all vehicles, trying to improve their handling, how they're operating, and so on. One thing they're focused on is trying to fix tracked vehicles and how they can move over obstacles. In addition to this, all vehicles have undergone a flip sensitivity pass, meaning that it's not impossible to flip vehicles, but it should be more difficult to do so. Next up, you're going to see improvements to camo netting. This is another pain point for players. It's been an issue since 9.0. Just with that information, 10.1 looks promising to fix some of the issues that have come up amongst the community pretty frequently. But let's dive deeper into some of the patch notes to cover what else is included with 10.1. One thing that is not specific to PvP gameplay or updates or anything like that is the new Fireteam game mode coming to Squad. This will be added to your game with 10.1, giving you a set of free missions you can play with friends. There's also, of course, the paid options for additional missions. I'm not going to dive too far into this because we have videos covering it more specifically, but this will be added to your game and available. So if you want to try a free mission, you certainly can. Just remember that the release of Fireteam is sort of an early access for the game mode, as it's a new venture for Offworld and the game itself. This is an opportunity for them to get feedback from the community to continue the development and improve the development of the Fireteam game mode. Now, obviously, we all want performance and optimization improvements, and there seems to be some slight help here. It does look like some sort of pass has been made to decrease texture VRAM usage. It also appears that they have made some updates to Black Coast and Lashkar to fix various issues that they were having that could affect performance. Now, a separate adjustment to vehicles is that the timer to reset a vehicle, if it's flipped over or stuck, has been reduced. It's now a max of 12 seconds for the heaviest of vehicles versus the previous 20 seconds that it was in 10.0. With 10.1, there's going to be some updates to the Ukrainian faction. In fact, the AFU will now be available in the Northern European biome, including Harju, Narva, and Skorpo. AFU battle groups will also have access to the HMG tripod and the AGL bunker. It also looks like they've done some updates to sights and variants, especially with the AK-74. So you may see a couple of sites replaced or additional sites added to their inventory. Now, of course, there's bug fixes, many of which are specific to the AFU's implementation with the last big update, along with a few other fixes, including they fixed a bug where helicopters were flying away when the pilot exited, or a client stutter caused by additional helicopter velocity, in addition to various issues with Unreal 5 vehicle collision detection related to high ping. In addition to bug fixes, we're going to have some smaller map fixes as well. Now, obviously, 10.1 is not meant to be this huge update with a ton of content. It's more so meant to be another step towards kind of remedying some of the things that the community's been talking about, in addition to adding Fireteam. Now, earlier you heard me talk about Skywarp, the new lead game designer behind Squad. And I think it's important that we reference an interview that Urso did on his channel talking to Skywarp about some of the things that are on the community's mind. Now, this stems from a community survey that Urso did where he got several hundred responses separate from the survey that Offworld did. But there are certainly some similarities between the two surveys. For example, through his study, he found that 70% of players reported optimization problems. 71% of players were faced with crashes or persistent bugs across all hardware. The next issue featured was gunplay. 78% of players pointed to suppression and visual overload as an issue, with 61% of players saying recoil feels unpredictable. Next up was pacing, maps, and modes, with 83% of players saying they struggle with spawn reliability and objective flow, with 78% of players saying they spent more time moving than fighting. And tied to this, Urso talks about how gameplay just feels stale, especially random, advanced, and secure. And I think it's important that this closely aligns with the results that Offworld reported from their own survey. Specific to gunplay, which is featured in both of these surveys, of course, optimization, and to some extent, I think there is an overlap of stale gameplay. Now, I know some folks will doubt what a community-created survey can do for the community, but I think what's interesting is Urso actually has background in this type of thing. In fact, he lists his credential as an adult education and qualitative research scientist. I don't even know fully what that means, but it sounds pretty impressive. He's also a squad partner, by the way. Urso actually presented the data that he collected via his survey to Skywarp, and here was a portion of Skywarp's response.
Look at all this data that I've collected, and this is why we feel like there's all these issues, or things driving down. But yeah, it becomes a moment of like, okay, enough is enough. We got to fix this.
It's good to hear that the lead designer sees the issues the community is focused on and concerned about and wants to implement change. But how quickly can things get changed? And I think this next bit from Skywarp is very important for the community to hear, especially as it pertains to the Muzzle Smoke issue.
Why can't we fix this right now? And they're like, well, it's a part of a bigger system. I'm like, sure, but people can't see what the they're shooting at. Sorry, excuse my language. Dude, frustrating. And we said, okay, well, let's just fix that part. Let's get a quick turnaround on this. It's like, okay, cool. And when I put it out to the people that are involved, I'm like, okay, so what is the big long-term solution? They're like, well, it's just a lot of different things with lighting and so forth, and GI stuff. And it's like, cool. So what is a solution to get this playable in people's hands now? They said, well, we could reduce this. I'm like, these are answers I want to start hearing. I want to start, I encourage all the designers and people on the team. It's like, yes, we know there's lots of problems. There's lots of very lengthy ways to solve things, but in the immediate, what can we do now?
I think what's important here is that the lead designer is aware that the community has an issue, is bringing up the community, and things aren't being fixed with it at a pace that matches the community concern. It's an FPS and I can't see what I'm shooting at. That's problematic for an FPS. And the way this is framed is Skywarp is saying that this was an ongoing issue that hadn't been addressed, and he is like, why? Why are we not fixing this at a pace, again, that matches the community concern? I just think that the transparency of Skywarp basically saying, hey, we may not have time to fix the underlying issue, but we need a hot fix. We need something out now, or something that should have been out a little while back, is critical. Now, Skywarp goes on to talk about trying to find ways to address random advances cure feeling stale. Also, that it is really, really important for Offworld to address performance and optimization, which is probably just going to take more time. There's also a discussion about patch cadence, which Urso kind of summarizes in a way that says that they're not going to be as focused on these large, significant updates and dry spells in between, but trying to keep updates moving a little bit more consistently, which I think the community will appreciate, especially with fixes, bug fixes, and all that sort of thing. Furthermore, we had a video released actually while I was editing this video. This is actually PMO talking a little bit more about some of the things that they want to work on for Squad, referencing things that were in the surveys and more. This is labeled as a progress report, direct communication from the developer to the community, something that I would imagine we'll see more of in the future. Now, the key takeaways here are with the infantry combat overhaul, they want to test things and work things into a better position, but work with the community to make that happen. PMO continues by saying that performance and optimization are critical, things that they want to focus on and improve over time, including the implementation of new technology that'll help performance. While plenty of things in this video reference changes to 10.1, little features or adjustments to the gameplay that are meant to improve the squad experience, I think it's important that this is communicated the way it is because it's different than how it's been communicated in the past. I've really appreciated the before and after looks at things that they're changing and the transparency and clear direction that they're trying to improve things, even if they are small. Like 10.1, again, it's not a flashy update, but there are small steps to try to fix things that the community has asked for or complained about, especially things since 9.0. While the vehicle physics update was a welcome thing to hear about, there's obviously been things needing to be adjusted, like vehicle flipping, which is way too prominent. And as you can see in the footage, we have a clear example of what it looked like versus what it is. And I think this is a nice way to start building better trust with the community based on things that they want to update. And it does seem they're not necessarily going to focus on these massive updates that may change and break a lot of things, but even it's just small 10.1s on repeat where we get these little fixes, I think that'll be a welcome thing for the community. So I definitely recommend going to check out the video Urso did, the interview with Skywarp, to get a better feel of all the things they discussed. I'd also recommend checking out the video from PMO that is on the Squad official YouTube. I'll link these down in the description below. I wanted to create this video this way to try to address some of the overall concerns I'm seeing in comments where we are leaping to conclusions about what's going to change about the game. Plenty of people are asking for changes and updates and tweaks to make the game more approachable, to make it run better, and plenty more. and the game can't stay in the same state forever. We all know that. But I am very appreciative of the more direct communication Offworld seems to be giving us in terms of what they want to do, what they want to focus on, and how they want to move forward. So with all that said, be sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, drop a comment down below with your thoughts on the content here and anything that we're discussing, and I will catch you all next time.